Hi guys. Contrary to what it may look like, the blank wall behind me, I'm not in a prison or something like that. I'm in my classroom. We're getting ready for the new school year, and I just haven't managed to get everything up on the walls yet. But I thought I would take a minute. I'll tell you a little bit about a trip to Area X. Just got back last week. Spent 6 days there. For those of you who don't know, Area X is the NAWAC's primary study area, an area of southeastern Oklahoma up in the Ouachita Mountains, where we firmly believe there's a population of wood apes residing. Um, Two interesting incidents while we were there. I was with a team of four total, three other guys and myself. The first was last Sunday night. Two of the guys had gone to bed. A friend of mine named Tony and we were staying up. We were going to conduct kind of an overwatch situation, just kind of watching around camp. We had thermal devices and we were scanning the woods around camp. We have a little hunting cabin up there and a metal, really it's a carport for lack of a better term, but some of the guys have nicknamed it the hooch. It's open-ended, has one wall that comes down to the ground on one side, and the other three sides are open. It's a place where we can store some things, keep them dry. If it's raining, we can get under it and stay dry. Pretty simple, very basic. So Sunday night, Tony and I were staying up, dark camp, no fire, just scanning, trying to pick up a heat signature on the thermals. And from just west of the little cabin, we start to hear one of the oddest things I've ever heard in the woods, and I've heard some strange things. It sounded like someone was taking a big stick or a pole or something and just beating the ground with it, just wha-pow, 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 over and over and over. This went on for about 45 seconds. It sounded like it was just west of the cabin. The impacts were loud. They were strong sounding. They were significant impacts. This went on for about 45 seconds, maybe a minute. There was a little time in between, but they were really unusual. I've never heard anything like that. Whatever was being swung, you could hear it cut the air. You could kind of hear it before the impulse was wha-pow, wha-pow. You could hear it cut the air. So it was being swung with some velocity, whatever it was. We scanned the area with thermal devices. We were not able to pick up a heat signature at all. It sounded like it was right on top of us, just yards away to the west of the cabin, but we couldn't see anything. It was very unusual. So we just kind of held our ground there in camp. Again, it's a dark camp. We don't have a fire going, no torches, no lights of any kind are on. We're just sitting there scanning with the thermals. A few minutes later, we hear the impact sounds again. This time they move slightly to the northwest, and I'm going to tell you right now, it sounded like it was under that hooch, that metal carport type structure. It sounded like it was in it, not behind it, but in it. That's how close it sounded. This is just a few yards from our location, so it was really startling. And if anything, the impacts were louder, a little more violent. It's swinging, whatever it's swinging, harder. It was the impression we had. Just wha-pow, 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 over and over and over again. And we can't see it. We can't see it. It sounds like it is just right there, and we can't see it. It was the strangest thing. Finally, I had a headlamp on. I hit the light on the headlamp, thinking it's got to be right there. I don't know if something's wrong with my thermal device or what, but it's right there. It has to be right there. It sounds so close. Nothing. Couldn't see it with the white light either. And as soon as we hit that light, it stopped. We continued, got up, we scanned the woods, scanned behind the hooch, looked around, very unusual, nothing. So at this point, we said, let's move on to the porch of the cabin. and maybe it'll think we've gone inside, whatever it is, and this will embolden it enough. Maybe it'll come a little closer, and maybe then we can finally get a glimpse of whatever this is. We had been sitting maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops. We'd gotten settled and quiet, and it starts again and again. It sounds like it is 5 yards away from us on the porch. And again, it's just wapow, 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 on something striking the ground. And then the last strike, at first we thought it must have been a rock, but in hindsight, I think whatever this thing had been swinging to hit the ground, I think it then picked up and like a baseball bat, swung it and hit the side of that carport structure. And that's the side that's enclosed. That's the side where the wall comes all the way to the ground. And it just knocked the fire out of the side of that structure, rang it like a bell. I mean, it reverberated. It's as I struggle to get across to you just how loud it was. We immediately jumped up off the porch. We're scanning. We're looking. Nothing. Went white lights. Got out of. Went all around the camp, just scanning, looking. Nothing. It was really, really strange, and I can't say for sure what it was that was making this racket, but whatever it was having a fit, just beating the ground with something and then hitting the side of that metal structure. I can't say for sure what it was, but I can't think of anything animal-wise that is supposed to live up in that part of the country, southeastern Oklahoma, that could make that noise. A bear couldn't do that. A mountain lion couldn't do that. And then you go down the list of smaller animals down there. I just don't know what else could do it. And I do not believe that it was a person playing a prank on us. That would be the dumbest thing anyone could do. We were armed, and I secondly, I just don't think a person could get in and out of the woods that quickly without us hearing it or seeing them. And like I said, even if they could, it'd be a very dangerous thing to pull. And I just don't know what else it could be other than a wood ape, which is why we were there in the first place. I just cannot imagine what else could or would do that, and then be stealthy enough to remain unseen. It's just it was pretty intense, and it was one of the more unusual experiences I've had up in Area X, and it's an area where some high strangeness tends to take place from time to time. So that's one of the experiences from this past week. Another interesting experience that you can read about it, on the blog, and it continues to be a place of interest. And I believe if this animal is going to be documented, there's a very good chance that this is the area it's gonna happen. I think they're there, and I think there's a good chance this is the area where if it's going to happen, this is going to be where it does happen. So that's all for now. More soon.